Paul Terry. Yes, I think we're a lot better off for several different reasons. First of all, we have a lot more realistic figure or feeling of where we are financially than what we did when we first come on board. Our general manager, too, is doing a lot of studying as to what projects need to be done into the future. We need to review some of our cost studies. We have a sewer study that's about 10 years old, which again, that's pretty old because the cost to replace sewage lines and everything will change over time. And so when we get a little better handle on what we need to do into the future, I think we'll be even better off. But it does take some time. It isn't something you do overnight, or at least it's something you shouldn't do overnight. You need to take the time to do it right and get the right information in place. Thank you.
Larry Walsh, without a doubt, we're better off, in my opinion. We moved from a board that was bickering and entrenched to one now, even if we disagree, we at least listen to each other. Once the vote is made, we support the majority vote. We've also seen a major turnover in personnel. We've got a new GM. We have new superintendents. We have new foremen. They're all coming in with new energy, new ideas, and they bring it to the board. They are bringing us forward. Best of all those new employees start at the base, so they're lower, and it'll take years before they hit the top of scale. We have one gentleman that's worked for us for 35 years. He's essentially working for free. He's gaining no more benefits, so we have his depth of knowledge and his commitment without the extra burden of additional benefits for him. But eventually we'll lose him, and we'll lose his abilities. Then we can change over to some new people and maybe some new ideas.
Karyn Oxandaboure. I believe that the last 2 years have been incredible. The communication between the staff and the board members, between the general manager and the board members, is something that just hadn't been happening for a long time. The stability, the cooperation, all that's involved in the budget cuts and again, back to the communications and decisions being made that are going to protect CSD in the future. I think that's very positive in the last 2 years. And I forget who mentioned this, but it also, we're not even being written about in the Grizzly very much because we're handling things professionally. It's not Monday Night Live anymore.
Karyn, please hang on to the microphone.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, okay. So Karyn, at this time, please go ahead and read your closing statement. And we'll go
Okay. Well, I don't have something to read, and I'm just going to wing it. Obviously, I'm not a very good professional speaker, but I do have the background and the knowledge to make the right decisions. I do the homework, I study, I get people's opinions. As my friend here said, I don't talk a lot at the meetings, but I did spend 20 years as a board secretary, many hours listening to people ramble on and on about things that were not any part of our jurisdiction, that we had nothing to do with, that were gripes about other people, and I just think it was a waste of the public's time. So I don't say very much, but that doesn't mean that if I have a question on an agenda item that I don't call the superintendent. I find out I get an answer to my question so that I don't have to waste time at the meetings. And I will continue to do the job that I've done for the last year and a half. I care very much about this district, and that's the only reason I'm doing it. When I was a board secretary, I thought, why doesn't somebody run for this board who cares about it, who knows what the background is, knows how it operates, and doesn't have a personal agenda? well, now I'm retired and I'm that person and I want to serve.
Bob Ybarra, thank you once again for this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. One of the things I want to continue is to maintain the service level to our community. I want to continue the program we have of continuing higher education. We have 2 new supervisors, as was spoken of, and they're doing a fantastic job. And that's, I think, one of the things that come from having higher education and sending them to classes so they can further themselves, and they're doing a fantastic job for the district and for you. I want to make sure that we're controlling the litigation expenditures, and we need to be transparent to the community with things that really affect them. We can't have any feeling out there that things are being done and only they know about it, and we're being kept out. That's how I felt a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, as a citizen, being kept out of what was really happening around at CSD. So transparency is very important to me. One of the things I can promise is to represent the people and listen to what they've got to say and bring it to the board as a board member. One of the things on my campaign signs out there is a voice for the people, because, you know, as Al has stated, we have very little participation at our bi-monthly meetings. There are 3 of us sitting in the audience except for special occasions, and I think that's sad. But you know what? One of the things we need to do as a board is to come up with ways to get the public more involved in being at our meetings. You know, decisions are being made at those board meetings that affect your pocketbook. And then when they happen, you're appalled. Be there. Talk to the board. You know, this board is so cool. They allow you to talk back and give an opinion before they move on a subject. I think that's great. That's not the way it is on all the boards in this valley. So take advantage of this situation and come out there. And once again, thank you for this time, and please vote for Bob Ybarra on November 6th.
Thank you. Joseph Kelly. I started working when I was 5 years old, shining shoes and pulling weeds and mowing lawns. I've been working ever since, and I'd like the opportunity to work for you. Every issue that faces the board, I will research it and work hard to understand it and present it to you, the voters, the taxpayers, the community. I think we can work on these things together on the board openly and represent the taxpayer, the community, and the employees of CSD. And I'm ready to work. I see this as a job. It's not a flight of fancy. I will roll up my sleeves and study and know every issue and bring what I have to each of those issues. And I will express myself at the board meetings and listen to the other board members for their point of view. And we can do it together, working together, and everybody will benefit. So again, my name is Joseph Kelly, and I hope you vote for me for CSD and some other offices. I would like to represent you all throughout the valley and be the watchdog and a hard-working person working full-time for all of you. Again, this is our government. We have services that the CSD provides, but it's our government. And I love this country and our form of government and our freedom. And I thank God every day that I live in a country where I'm free and I can speak here today. I can participate. You can all participate. And we have a free press that can keep you informed on that. Thank you.
I don't have a written statement, but I will let you, would like to make the following statement. Number one, I've been here since 1974. I've been attending CSD meetings since well, actually I started right around 85 and then 90. But my bottom line is I have the knowledge and the history of this valley. and I have spent so much time at CSD. I go to the different committee meetings, and it really bugs myself. It bugs Bob, his wife. There's nobody there. Then all of a sudden somebody walks in and they got stupid questions that just plugs up everything. But fortunately our board tries to work with these different people to keep them happy and not make too many waves. But again, my name's Al Ziegler. I have the knowledge of the history, and I think I can make a big difference if I was elected to the board. So thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your interest.
Paul Terry. The one word I guess I would like to hope that we can guide the CSD to is stability. It's kind of interesting. I was talking to one of the employees not too long ago, and it's really interesting because the employees too worry about the stability of the organization. And you know, this is sort of an unusual period in the country. Tax revenues used to be sort of stable for organizations such as ours. It isn't true anymore. So what do you have to do? You really have to go back to the basics. You have to take a look at your budgets to see where you can make cuts. You need to take and have a good idea of what you have in reserves. Reserves are really our bank accounts. And so if you have money in there, say for projects like a water line, you shouldn't be spending project money on your day-to-day operations. And if you are, there ought to be a big red flag go up and say, hey, something's wrong. And the other question, or the other thing too that I leave you with, and it's something I said earlier, every board member that makes a decision, oftentimes it's a decision that hinges on what happens to the district financially, not only then but in the future. You need to be ready to ask that other question, what effect will it have on the district in the future? And again, thanks for coming. Hope that you'll vote for me.
Larry Walsh. Studebaker, under new management, was released from receivership in just under 2 years, the only car maker ever to do so and one of the few to survive the Great Depression. They were 77 years old and known as the world's largest manufacturer of vehicles, having moved from wagons and buggies to electric and finally gasoline-powered automobiles. But after 114 years, they would finally close their doors in 1966. Their cost per unit was higher than the big three, yet they paid their employees more than Ford, Chrysler, or GM. They were finally shut down by a combination of expensive government regulation, that may sound familiar, and higher labor costs. I doubt the average ratepayer understands just how many permits and fees the CSD pays or the number of government agencies restricting what we can do and how we do it. The CSD keeps sparing cost, but there comes a point of diminishing returns. As a service district, our employees are the most valuable and the most visible asset we have. They're also the highest single cost center by way of wages and benefits. I think the board needs to look at new ways to keep our promise to the employees to pay a fair wage and to provide fair benefits, but at a cost that's sustainable. We cut back some of those costs in the last labor contract negotiations, but like the City of Los Angeles, the changes made won't be seen for years as the new hires finally reach retirement. The CSD is not in the same position as state, county, or city governments where the retirement burden has been teetering on bankruptcy, but the board needs to work now to avoid that catastrophe. We have to work as a team and plan for the future. I think the current board can do that, and I'd like to continue serving as an elected director rather than one appointed.